What's up everyone, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech and this is the unboxing of the Samsung Galaxy J6 Plus. Now this is the box and as you can see it's already been opened. This is my friend's phone and I've just borrowed it for a few days to make videos for you. So this phone Samsung J6 Plus is supposed to be a more premium version or a better version of this previous Samsung J6 launched a few months ago, and purely based on specifications alone it's definitely not that impressive, and even the price has been slightly bumped up. It's priced at 16,000 rupees and you can buy it online on Flipkart and Samsung's very own website. Now with that said, let's have a quick physical overview of the box itself. On the front it says J6 Plus and at the top once again it says Samsung Galaxy J6 Plus, and it even says 64GB. That's the information about the storage variant. Now on the sides we have all these stickers with product information, IMEI numbers and so on. Now on the back we have some highlighting features like the infinity display, dual camera setup. It even says Emotify. That's probably an alternative for an emoji for the Samsung phone. Following that are some more specifications like the side fingerprint scanner, dual camera setup. It only says Qualcomm Snapdragon processor with 4GB RAM, 64GB storage and so on. I'll talk about specs later, so let's just move on. At the bottom it says made for India, Geos and secured by Knox. Now unlike other phones it is saying it's just Geos, so that means this phone supports dual SIM but not dual WoW LTE. So I'll let you know more in my complete review. For now let's just unbox it, which is pretty simple as this box is already opened. So at the top we have the phone, so let me just put that aside for now. We'll come back to it in a second. Following that are some documentation like the quick start guide, warranty information, which seriously I never read. Next we have the 5 watts power adapter. Now for a price tag of 16,000 rupees, Samsung phones do not even come with fast charging and come with a pretty slow charger. That's beyond horrible. Anyway, going on, next we have the micro USB charging cable and some old style earphones, and you also get the SIM card ejector. So that's all we get inside the box, and except for the phone, all these things are pretty much useless. This is a 5 watts charger, it's pretty slow, better to use a 10 watts power adapter. The same goes with these earphones as well. Now let me just put everything aside and come back to the phone. So guys, this is the phone. It should be coming in a plastic wrapping with some stickers about IMEI number and so on, but all of them have been peeled off already. So now let's have a quick physical overview and then check out the specs. This phone has a complete plastic build. On the back it is a 2.5D curved fiberglass, which really looks like glass with a super glossy finish. Yes, it's a fingerprint magnet and it can break easily or scratch easily. Central frame, even though it looks like it's made of metal, it also comes with a glossy paint job, but even this central frame is said to be made of plastic. Now coming to the back once again, it has a dual camera setup with a 13 megapixel primary camera with f1.9 aperture. That's followed by a 5 megapixel secondary camera for depth sensing, that's for portrait mode, and that's followed by a single LED flash and Samsung branding. At the bottom it has some specifications that you can completely ignore. Now on the front it has a pretty massive 6-inch TFT display with 73% screen to body ratio, pretty huge bezels at the top and bottom, 18.5:9 aspect ratio and just HD plus resolution. Now above the display we have the 8 megapixel front facing camera with f1.9 aperture with a dedicated flash, earpiece and some sensors. At the bottom it is completely plain, but the chin is pretty huge. Now on the right side, just like the previous Samsung phones, we have the mono speaker followed by a pretty huge power button which also acts like a fingerprint scanner. Now on the left side it is a volume buttons and SIM card trays that can hold 2 nano SIMs along with a dedicated SD card slot. At the top it is completely plain once again. At the bottom we have the 3.5mm audio jack, primary microphone and a micro USB charging port. Now coming to the rest of the specifications, under the hood this phone sports a Snapdragon 425 processor with Adreno 308 GPU with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage, which is a very old processor we have seen in phones like Redmi 3S I guess, like 2 years ago. Now besides that, it is running a skinned version of Android called Samsung Experience UI based on 9.5 with Android 8.1 Oreo. Now finally powering all this is a 3300 mAh battery. Phone feels kinda sleek with a thickness of 7.9 mm and weighs 178 grams, which is pretty huge for the internals it packs. Now it doesn't have a huge battery like say Redmi Note 5 Pro or the Note 5 which come with 4000 mAh battery, but still weigh almost as much as those phones, that's around 180 grams. So that's kinda disappointing. By the way, it comes with all the basic sensors like the proximity ambient sensor. It even has compass and gyroscope. So guys, now let me turn on the phone and see what we get right out of the box. So there we go, it says Samsung J6 Plus secured by Knox. Knox is a Samsung security suite which gives you a lot of security features, but it will affect performance as this phone has a pretty mediocre processor. Anyway, give me a second to configure the phone. So guys, I've done with the configuration, and this is how the default home screen looks like. And on the left side, we still have the Bixby feed. We can swipe up for all the applications, and you can swipe from the bottom for Samsung Pay Mini. There you go. Now let's check the amount of free RAM and storage we get right out of the box. So guys, out of that 4 GB of RAM, we get about 2.3 GB of free RAM, and out of that 64 GB of storage, we get about 52.1 GB of free space right out of the box. Now let's check the about page, software information. So this phone is running Samsung Experience version 9.5 based on Android 8.1.0, that's Oreo. So here we go, and it has the latest September security patch. By the way guys, Samsung A7, which I've just unboxed few days ago, has Samsung Experience version 9.0 based on Android 8.2. So this phone, which is priced at 16,000 rupees, somehow has the latest Samsung Experience version and is running the latest Android version as well. So that's kind of disappointing for people who bought the Samsung A7, as Samsung is not providing them with the latest updates. So guys, this is the camera interface. It looks exactly like all the previous Samsung phones. You can swipe from the shutter button to create a shortcut to take pictures, or you can swipe it back to send it back again. You can swipe left or right to zoom in and zoom out, which is my personal favorite feature, and you can swipe left or right to change between different modes. On the left side, it has the live focus mode, which is the portrait mode for the rear camera. You can also change the amount of blur effect you want before taking a picture, and even after taking a picture, you can change the focus point and the amount of blur effect you want. And this phone also offers you features like portrait dolly and portrait backdrops. To know more about all the camera features, check out my video on best features. I'll be posting it pretty soon. Now besides that, we have the regular beauty mode, pro mode, panorama, and on the left side we have other modes like continuous shot, stickers, and this is a quick preview of how the stickers looks using the front facing camera. So these are the stickers. You can select any one of these and it simply adds these different stickers, and you can take some funny videos or take some funny pictures. You can also press this plus button to download extra packages or extra things from Samsung account. Now this is the interface for the regular front facing camera, and selfie do look pretty good. I won't say it's awesome, but they look pretty good. Now this is the selfie focus mode, which is a portrait mode for the front facing camera. Now this is a settings page, and this phone supports video recording at Full HD resolution using both the front and rear cameras. So that's pretty good. Now these are some sample shots taken using the front and rear cameras. So guys, now I'll be testing the fingerprint scanner. I've already set it up with my index finger and with thumb. Now having this fingerprint scanner on the side has its own pros and cons. Now for one thing, when you're holding the phone, you can easily access the fingerprint scanner, whether it's with your index finger or whether it's with your thumb if you're a right-handed person. And Samsung also offers this gesture to pull down the notification bar by simply swiping on the fingerprint scanner. Now all this is pretty good and fancy and all, but most of the time, especially if you're not looking at the phone, you really don't know where the fingerprint scanner is. I just wish this button was slightly more elevated so we can know where the fingerprint scanner is even without looking at the phone. Now besides that, there is no haptic feedback when we use the fingerprint scanner, so unless the phone actually unlocks, we never know if the fingerprint scanner is working or not. Now let's test this fingerprint scanner. So as you can see, fingerprint scanner works and it is kind of fast. Well, it's not pretty accurate. Even in the best case conditions, it takes like a second to unlock the phone. Fingerprint scanner itself is pretty fast. It is able to read the fingerprint faster, but phone is taking like a second or half a second to unlock the phone. Now let's test it with the thumb. And with the thumb, it's much more accurate, I guess. Another thing that I've noticed is that whenever you try to unlock the phone immediately after you lock the phone, it takes a bit of more time, or the fingerprint scanner simply doesn't work. Now the phone has been locked for quite some time. It should work pretty instantly. Now when I lock it and try to unlock it, it doesn't work. I'll just show you once again. I'll lock it and immediately try to unlock it. Lock. Now for the third time it worked. So the fingerprint scanner is probably not working for maybe like a second once you lock the phone. After that second, you can use the fingerprint scanner. And it is kind of fast. It's not super fast like the Vivo and Oppo phones, but it's usable. Now coming to face unlock, yes, even this phone has it, and unlike other phones, it actually asked me if I use glasses or not. So that was a bit surprising because I never seen any phone ask this question. And based on your answer, it's gonna optimize face unlock, I guess. But I've tested it with both, and usually it works faster without glasses on. So let me just go with no and try to register my face. Another thing that I noticed is that this phone takes quite a bit of time to register the face. Now once you have registered your face, make sure you turn on this toggle that says face unlock. Now let's test face unlock in good lighting conditions. So it's taking like probably 2 to 3 seconds. That's the lock screen, and it unlocks. Lock screen, and it unlocks. Now I'm going to close my eyes and see if it can unlock or not. And even with closed eyes, face unlock works, which might be a security concern for few people. Now I'll turn off all the lights in the room and see if it will still work or not. And it seems to be still working. It's taking probably like 3 to 4 seconds. Definitely longer than well lit conditions. So guys, face unlock on this phone, it's working, and even in complete darkness it works, but it is kinda slow, which on the whole ruins the entire experience. Now let's test the speaker loudness. Now unlike most phones or just like the previous Samsung J series phones, this phone has a speaker on the right side. That's a pretty unique position, and there aren't many phones that offer a speaker in that position. Once again, it has its own pros and cons. Well, because of the unique position, it doesn't get muffled, especially while playing games. But because of that odd position, speaker loudness is of concern. So this is how the speaker sounds. So guys, speaker on this phone is definitely not loud. It is kind of average. In a small silent room it's usable, but if it's a little bit noisy, speaker loudness is definitely not sufficient. You might have to consider using headset, and if you are going to use headset, this phone comes with Dolby Atmos, so you can have some pretty good audio experience. So that's one bit of an advantage with this phone. Unlike previous Samsung phones, this phone actually has all the basic sensors and they are working without any issues, but Samsung has really nailed it when it comes to the processor, in a bad way I mean. So guys, on the whole, this phone is pretty good, especially compared to the previous Samsung J6 phone. It is definitely an improvement in terms of entire build quality. Cameras also kinda good. You got a dual camera setup. Even the fingerprint scanner has got a new position to brag about. And this phone also comes with pretty good specs for marketing, like 4 GB of RAM and 64 GB of storage. But when it comes to performance, I just have one thing to say: it's pretty horrible. Now, because of the software optimization, everything is pretty smooth so far. I couldn't notice any major lags, especially if I'm using like a very basic normal user. But if you install a lot of apps and try to multitask, you will definitely notice a lot of lag on this phone. So if you're a basic user who doesn't use a lot of apps, you might not have any issues with overall performance. Everything works perfectly or smoothly. But if you're a heavy user who likes to play a lot of games, especially games like PUBG, then this is a pretty bad device. Now at the same price, we have a lot of awesome phones like the Realme 2 Pro, Redmi Note 5 Pro, Realme 1, Asus M1 6GB RAM variant, even the Nokia 6.1 Plus, which offers way better performance than this phone. So if you want my recommendation, I'll definitely not recommend you this phone. But if you're a very basic user and you just need basic functionality like calls, messages, and maybe WhatsApp, then you can get this phone. So guys, what do you think about this phone? Will you buy it, or will you suggest it to anyone considering other alternatives like the Nokia 6.1 Plus, Redmi Note 5 Pro, Mi A2 and so on? So if you want to suggest any other phone apart from this phone, which phone will it be? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description. It helps the channel, and if you want us to make any specific video, tweet out to us with the hashtag AskGreedyTech on Twitter and I'll try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off. Have a nice day.